Arizona Tech Week was an experiment. It was a crazy idea. After being at the other tech weeks put on by Andreessen Horowitz, I came back and I said to Sandra, hey, what do you think? And she said, yes, but we're going to do it across Arizona. And I went, of course we will, because, she's the most innovative thinker in the world and and always wants to think bigger and better. And so I said, okay, we'll do it across Arizona. And we weren't sure what we would get. We thought, okay, maybe some of the ecosystems in their inaugural events were like 50, maybe 100 events. We had 419 events and over 18,000 visitors. And I think that's very conservative as far as visitors, because we just couldn't even count at one point.
Welcome to the Venture Cafe Phoenix podcast. Today, I am joined by someone who has been a tremendous advocate for Arizona and the Phoenix ecosystem. She's a founding member of the Venture Cafe Phoenix team. Through her leadership at Venture Cafe, she has helped open doors, build relationships, and make introductions that accelerated our growth beyond what we could have achieved alone. And now she supports us as a founding sponsor in the EVP of Venture Development and Innovation Strategy role with the Arizona Commerce Authority. Join me welcoming Melissa Lamson today in the studio.
Hi, Alex. Thanks
Welcome,
for having
Melissa.
me.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
Absolutely. So you were part of the founding team at Venture Cafe. Would love for you to share your founder story and how you got involved.
Yes. So the long story, which I'll make short, is I had a career as a consultant in organizational development and leadership development. And when the pandemic hit, I had a very large contract with a very exciting tech company, and that was canceled. And I went, oh my gosh, I've never been grounded before. I'm usually traveling globally and didn't know, what to do next. So I had an opportunity to build something called Recreate. So it was that was an accelerator for women over 40 who wanted to build businesses. And a lot of women were leaving their companies at the time during the pandemic. And so we had a 9-month program, put 12 women through it. 3 got funding. And I went, wow, this is a thing. This is cool. And so I said, but how could I sustain it? How could we continue it? And so someone introduced me to Patty Dubois and Tom Schumann at the time, who were leading the kind of the beginning of Venture Cafe along with yourself. And they said maybe they would be interested in hosting it. And so I brought it to Patty, and Patty said, great, let's do that. And we could rename it potentially something else. And I said, sure. And so that we make it clear that it's for women. And so Women Entrepreneurship Network or something, Women Entrepreneur Network was born. And I said, great, I'm happy to run that. And then they kind of said, well, what else you got? And I said, well, I don't know. I've never built a Venture Cafe before or something that like this necessarily before, but I've done a lot of events and I'm not afraid to ask for money, and let's see what we can do, right? I mean, obviously curriculum development was an expertise of mine too. So we just started.
Yeah. And your impact that you were able to make on Venture Cafe, I don't want to brush over that or take it lightly, because when Forbes and I started, we were tasked with launching it. And I think Forbes had a pretty good source of connections here in Phoenix, whereas I was on the global scale and I wasn't connected locally yet.
Right.
I had from years ago, but not recent. And that was something that I think you were able to accelerate our growth and bring more opportunities to the table. How did you, and you just talked about your global background, how did you build those relationships in Phoenix?
Yeah, it probably started with Eric Miller, as a lot of things do, right? I know he was on your podcast recently. He had a happy hour, and someone said to me, hey, I don't know if you know Eric Miller, but he has this happy hour with a bunch of people. And so during the pandemic, he did that weekly. And so I was on that. I'm trying to think. I can't remember exactly how I was dialed in. I was doing a little bit of some local projects.
Yeah.
And so I met some folks, and I had been asked several times by Katie Seeker to speak at Phoenix Startup Week, previous years. And so I had built some connections. And so through that, I had found the people that I needed to support the Recreate program. And so then when that kicked off, then it kind of spiraled into, oh, okay, great. Or not necessarily spiraled, but was became a spider web of more connections, right? And
Yeah.
then I was just went out and just said, "Hey, we're doing this thing at Venture Cafe, and you might be interested because this supports startups," which is
Yeah.
the folks that I knew.
I love it.
Yeah.
What was, with Venture Cafe, what was one of the unique identifiers or things that you loved about Venture Cafe and the mission?
Oh, well, I love that it's community building. I love the original intent that if you create a center of gravity or a center of innovation where all different people can come together and make it accessible for all,
Yeah.
right? To get together and talk about ways that they could build tools and products and services that would support anything innovative that then that kind of becomes a community and then eventually an ecosystem, right? And
Mhm.
so having I did my master's in Cambridge, Massachusetts, so I was in Kendall Square when Venture Cafes basically started
Yeah. That's awesome.
there, and it was actually before it started, and it was kind of interesting just to see what has happened over the years in Kendall Square.
Mhm.
And I knew that where Venture Cafe is in Phoenix, that's essentially the start of our Kendall Square, right?
Yeah.
Lots of buildings and companies will come there, and it's creating a center of innovation. So awesome.
Yeah. When creating that center of innovation, what were some of the key factors to the success of Venture Cafe and being able to provide that to the community?
Um, Key success factors to Venture Cafe period or
Venture Cafe period, but
yeah.
then the impact that had on the ecosystem.
Yes, yes. Oh gosh. So I mean, I've heard story after story from founders, from ecosystem builders, from corporates just saying, I wouldn't have known about talent. I wouldn't have been able to find my business partner if it wasn't for Venture Cafe. I've gotten clients out of Venture Cafe. It's just incredible. I mean, it's almost immeasurable in some ways, right? Because there's just so many people and so many different people that are there every week. I mean, you all have done an incredible job continuing the momentum and creating the diversity for who does come today. And so it's just when I was there, I heard all those stories and I still hear them,
Yeah.
right? Anecdotally. So it can I think it's for everything. And we always use it as one of probably the top 3 things that we say. If you come to Phoenix, go to Venture Cafe on Thursday evening, check it out, meet people. It's a great place to kind of start, right?
Yeah.
Getting your tentacles into our ecosystem and just understanding. I mean, you can find sites, you can find again, business partners, you can find talent, you can find whatever you need. You hear about grant opportunities, you meet investors. I
Mhm.
mean, sometimes investors will just kind of show up, especially if there's a night where
Yeah,
that's
which
pertinent.
we have now.
Yeah. Yes. Yay. Okay. So, so yeah. So I think the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Venture Cafe.
Absolutely. I know that's one of the reasons why we wanted to take on this project of starting the podcast
Hmm.
is to be able to tell the story. There's so many people that were part of Venture Cafe community that have had success stories and then left, but they're not really gone. There's still connections. There's still people that we can refer other people to. So wanted to bring them back and tell their story and where they're at,
Hmm.
where they're moving forward. Um, and really show the impact that we've been able to have on this ecosystem. Because to your point, Venture Cafe is a great place to come as a
Hmm.
startup or someone looking for resources, but also as a successful founder, it's a great place to find talent.
Yes,
It's a great place to find the next opportunity or innovation or the new product. So
that's right.
I think people miss that. What is something that you wish people knew about Venture Cafe?
Good question. Just how I think it's just very I think it's the best platform to showcase what I love most about Phoenix in particular in the generosity and friendliness and openness that we are and that we have. And I know we say that a lot and it's really true. I
Mhm.
mean, I was just at Boston Tech Week and at New York Tech Week and it was incredible. I mean, the brains out of there, the fashion, the ideas, the innovation, the money, the excitement, but there's nothing like being able to just being in a room where people just wanna listen and they're curious
Yeah.
and they wanna get to know you, and that just makes you feel so much more comfortable. In fact, it was funny, we held very small dinners in both of those ecosystems with about 12 to 15 people, and at the end of that dinner, people were saying, "This is the best event that we've been to in Boston or New York." And we were like, "Why?" "Well, if you don't mind sharing why." They said, "Because this was so easy to talk to everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking to investors, we're talking to ecosystem builders, we're getting to know, Arizona as an ecosystem. It's just so easy and so nice, right? And so you're so open and sharing so much with us." And I think that's really the basis for Venture Cafe, particularly in Phoenix, but
Yeah.
as a concept generally too.
No, I agree. I think it's about people. Like, we're all human. We all
Mhm.
want human connection. I think a lot of times we go into these business networking events and we're masking or we're identifying with the brand that we're representing, and we forget that we're people. So being able to create that is huge.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned Tech Week.
Yes.
Share a little bit about AZ Tech Week. I know we just came off of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I mean, first of all, we couldn't have done it without Venture Cafe, and we couldn't have done it without all of your help.
And all the
And so it
partners.
was just, and all the partners, I
Yeah.
mean, they were just phenomenal. And that's the other great thing about what's happening where Venture Cafe sits in every city, but in all, obviously what's relevant to me is in Phoenix is all the partner organizations and companies that are sitting together in the same building and all being willing to kind of jump around or jump into supporting an event like Arizona Tech Week. So Arizona Tech Week was an experiment. It was a crazy idea after being at the other tech weeks put on by Andreessen Horowitz. Came back and I said to Sandra, "Hey, what do you think?" And she said, "Yes, but we're going to do it across Arizona." And I went, "Of course we will," because she's the most innovative thinker in the world and and always wants to think bigger and better. And so I said, "Okay, we'll do it across Arizona." And we weren't sure what we would get. We thought, okay, maybe some of the ecosystems in their inaugural events were like 50, maybe 100 events. We had 419 events and over 18,000 visitors, and I think
Yeah.
that's very conservative as far as visitors because we just couldn't even count at one point how many had come. But that was a really a massive success. So we were really excited. So that will become a yearly program. Again, it'll be a partner event. Love that everybody's contributing to that and putting events on there.
Yeah. I think what you and Kate Seeker and Sandra and the ACA was able to build
Yes.
and all of the people who are involved, like, blow my mind. Like, I think the expectation, we're coming up to it, trying
Yes.
to really encourage people to host events and put them on Partiful. I'm like, "Oh god, okay, this is great, but, like, what's it gonna look like?" And I mean, it far surpassed, I know, my expectations, and I'm sure a lot of others, and I had pretty high expectations because we had a great team of people supporting it.
Hmm.
But I think that's something, you guys should be really proud of because it was a huge success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to our Marcom team. I mean, really, 70% of the work was on them.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job, but they're used to doing events and complex events.
Yeah.
And so we were really lucky.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I got super excited about was I used to work with an organization out of Amsterdam, and one of my friends moved to Dubai, and she called me and she's like, "What is this AZ Tech Week?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"How are you learning about this in Dubai?"
Yeah.
So it did get global,
Yes.
and there
Yes.
were quite a few people in town
Mhm.
from outside of the state, but not only the state, outside of the nation, which is huge.
Yes. Yes. We
Yeah.
had 44,000 people that our newsletters and announcements about Arizona Tech Week went out to regularly.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we have 9 international offices that we support the Arizona Commerce Authority. And so they all promoted it, so we're lucky we have that kind of reach,
Yeah.
right? So it made sense for us to take a stab at doing, or hosting Arizona Tech Week.
Yeah. And I know you hosted an international mixer at Venture Cafe.
Yes.
How important is that international audience to the state, and what are some of the objectives that you have moving forward?
So it's incredible. I would say the international interactions have, like, 5x'd over the last 2
Wow.
years in terms of what we're doing just at the Arizona Commerce Authority. So, we have an international trade office. It's led by Fernando Garcia. He's incredible. Um, he's got a team of 3, literally, and they are bringing in delegations of hundreds of people into
Wow.
Arizona who are interested in investing here, whether it's big businesses or startups. There's also just a lot of even they all just got back. So it was Sandra and Fernando and Katie that all went, and Agnes, who works with the Fernando, all went and did a delegation around 4 different countries in around Asia, and just met with all kinds of government leaders and university leaders and company leaders and obviously a lot of startup accelerators and incubators. to basically figure out how we can get better at doing exchanges there. So I think, and especially with all the activities with TSMC and with Taiwan, period,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more, I think, cross or international cross-border innovation sharing and startups. So startups coming here and that we can support, and even some of our startups being able to go there. So I think the internet, I mean, I could talk all day about it, but I think, I
Yeah.
mean, both of us having global backgrounds, knowing how important that global connection is and how interesting it can be from an economical standpoint, but also from a cultural standpoint, I think we should continue that. And I think that's one of the advantages of Venture Cafe, right? Being a
Yeah.
global franchise and being in many different countries and across the US, there's a lot of opportunity there.
Absolutely. You mentioned some of the resources that are available to people coming into the state, but also entrepreneurs that are here. Explain to our audience a little bit more about what the ACA is and how it helps support these groups.
Sure. Yeah. So the Arizona Commerce Authority is the state's economic development agency, right? So we do traditional economic development, meaning there's a whole team called the Business Attraction Team, Business Development Team, and they bring in large corporations. So there will be expansion. So Sandra was actually the first person to talk to TSMC. She's the CEO of the Arizona Commerce Authority, Sandra Watson. And then there are many, many, many partners involved in TSMC, obviously, to get them here and sustain them here. But
Hmm.
it was pretty cool, the original story of her conversation with them. In any case, whether it's larger companies that are moving headquarters or expanding operations here, that's what we've traditionally done. The innovation side of the house has traditionally been more programmatic. So
Yeah.
they've run something called the Arizona Innovation Challenge, which is open to people all around the world to apply to and be part of. The stipulation is that they are moving to Arizona within a year and that they keep the operations here for 5 years. And then they can receive some non-dilutive funding for that. It's typically somewhere between $100 and $150,000. Um, so we have AIC, and then then there was also a virtual accelerator for a period of time. There are a couple of grant programs. We've run the SBIR and STTR programs, which are in particular the FAST grant program, which provides $3,000 towards being able to write a grant
Hmm.
to get some SBIR funding. But we've gone far beyond all of that.
Yeah.
So when I came in and took this role 2 years ago, I said I really wanted us to take an attraction approach to also startups. So I said,
Hmm.
let's get some big goals behind this and get partners involved in those big goals. And so we want to catalyze 10 billion in funding, relocate or co-locate 100 startups to Arizona, and then hopefully we'll see 10 unicorns come out of that
Yeah.
soon. And we have a defined period of time for that maps to our strategic plan. But in any case, there are now Launch AZ, which is a delegations program. We have a former VC who runs our capital formation program. So he's really involved in trying to figure out where are all the ways that we can leverage and find capital for
Good.
businesses,
Yeah.
which is exciting. Um, and then there's lots of interesting partnerships. The Plug and Play partnership to
Mhm.
support marrying corporates with startups. And then we have the Venture Studio with LG that will be an incubator of sorts. And so there's lots of exciting programs and opportunities for startups. Those coming in, once you're on the ground here, then we have a few more things to be able to offer you too.
Good.
So.
Where would you suggest somebody starts if they wanted to engage with the ACA?
I mean, they can certainly reach out to me, poke around on our website, our
Hmm.
startup page to just see what's interesting for you. But then certainly people can reach out directly to me and I can connect them with the right person to give
Yeah.
them more information.
And you've always been very gracious with your time and being able to connect people. I know I'm always sending someone to you, so appreciate that.
Oh, thanks. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about our job is all we do is help. Like,
Yeah.
it's great.
So, how did you get the role with the ACA? Was that through a connection at Venture Cafe?
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
So it happened to be the night that you hosted an event around TSMC.
Hmm.
And Brian Sherman, who is the former chief innovation officer, showed up. And we had a bit of a conversation. I was introduced to him. And then I think probably by Eric Miller again, just
Yeah,
because,
probably.
all roads
The
lead back
mayor
to
of.
Eric. Right. Um, so I met Brian, and then Brian said, "Hey, let's grab coffee." And we had a conversation. And he said, "Yeah, I think it'd be great if you could come into the ACA."
That's
And I
so
said,
cool.
"I'd be honored to." So
Yeah, and what an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great ride.
And how many
Loved it.
years have you been with the ACA?
Exactly 3
Yeah,
years. Yeah,
awesome.
I know.
And you've done such a great job in that role. I mean, being able to
Thank you.
see yeah, of course. Being able to see, the impact you've already had and, this ecosystem is growing, and I think that's something that we've seen at Venture Cafeing is having to constantly adapt and change and not fall
That's right.
into, old patterns, but I think that's something else that you've also been able to do and help with the ACA is make sure and I know Sandra's leadership is constantly supportive of that
Yeah.
evolution.
Yes, she's incredible. Yeah, and I feel really lucky. We have an amazing team in place. I mean, with Noreen Choi and Tiago Sequeira and obviously Katie Seeker and Wiley Larson, Robert Theobald. I mean, all of them just are great leaders. We have
Yeah.
great team members. It's really a pleasure to work with all of them.
Absolutely, and they've been phenomenal supporters of Venture Cafe. I think I see at least Noreen's ambassador lead, but at least one of them every Thursday,
Yeah,
and it's so nice to have access to that resource for the community of entrepreneurs that exist here, but also for the international ones that come in. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're coming down to the end.
good. Okay.
So we do some rapid fire
Oh, I love these.
questions
Yeah.
at the end here. Let me grab them, use my cheat sheet here. All right. So in your career,
hmm
what was one of the biggest lessons learned?
In my career, biggest lesson learned: patience.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a tough one,
Yes, very tough.
especially for those
Still
of us who are
learning.
doers or like get it done.
Yes,
Yes.
still learning.
All right. What is one organization that you wish more people knew about in Arizona?
Organization I wish more people knew about in Arizona. My gosh, that's a tough one. I can't be rapid with that.
It's
And I
okay.
can't pick anybody over another one because then I'll feel guilty.
All right.
um, maybe I would say Moonshot.
Yeah.
Moonshot's a really exciting organization. I am always surprised at the amazing things that Scott and Kirsten are doing. Scott and Kirsten Hathcock, who run Moonshot. So they run a rural pitch tour across the whole state, and you can see
Mhm.
amazing startups across the entire state. So I would highly recommend anybody following that and going to see some of
Yeah.
those pitches.
Their social media, I don't know if it's just because I started following them or if it's a new
Very well
initiative, but
done.
it's so well done.
Yes.
Like, I'm always sending it to our marketing manager, like, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah. 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 It's really well done.
All right, what is one word that would describe Arizona's future?
Number one.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really one word, but for sure we're gonna be number 1 in startups.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we're solidly placed to be the biggest ecosystem for startups and innovation. It's really exciting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. What is one thing you would like to see from the Phoenix ecosystem?
I'd like for us to ironically, we're generous and open. I love to see us collaborate a bit more.
Agreed.
A bit more. So I'd like for us to really to really embrace the concept of we can do more together.
Mhm.
So I'd love to see a bit more of that. Um, yeah, I think that's really that. And of course, I'd always love more capital to come into the
Oh, yeah.
ecosystem because more money, we can do more things. But that's not always necessarily in our ecosystem's control,
Right.
say.
Absolutely. All right, last question.
Yes.
In true venture cafe style, how can we help you moving forward?
Oh, that's so great. You could already help us so much. I mean, continue to just promote the things that we're doing to your audience. That
Mhm.
would be super helpful. And ask us, bug us, like, hey, do you have anything new
Yeah.
on the horizon? Because there'll be something new, and then we'll all forget to tell everybody about it
Yeah.
because there's so much happening.
I know as you're going through all the resources, I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right,
Oh, that's
exactly.
right. That's right."
Right.
Like, I need to have that in front of me.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but I
Actually, we just developed a matrix,
Oh,
so
did
we'll
you?
give it to you. Yes.
Oh, that'd be great.
Not to be like passed around because it's too much stuff. It'll
Yeah.
confuse people, but at least you'll know for yourself. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I can recommend this or recommend that. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, send that over. Well, Melissa, we've come to an end. Thank
Thanks,
you so
Alex.
much for being
Appreciate
on the
it.
podcast, and thank you for everything you've done for
Thank
not
you.
only Venture Cafe and the ecosystem, but for me and Forbes and Sarah and the entire CEI team, Venture Cafe team. We really appreciate it.
You're killing it.
Thank
Amazing.
you. Thanks. All right. And thank you for tuning into this podcast, and we'll see you at Venture Cafe Phoenix.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Venture Cafe Phoenix, an extraordinary podcast. Join us every week as we explore the ideas, partnerships, and people making Arizona a place to build. And if you're in Phoenix, come join us in person every Thursday from 4:30 to 7 at 850 PBC in the Phoenix BioCore, downtown Phoenix. Come as you are, show up when you can, and be part of a movement. It's free to attend, and yes, believe it or not, parking is free too. Venture Cafe Phoenix is made possible by the Center for Entrepreneurial Innovation at Gateway Community College, part of the Maricopa Community Colleges system. And it's also supported by the Maricopa Community Colleges Foundation, the organization behind Venture Cafe Phoenix and a catalyst for entrepreneurship, innovation, and community building throughout Arizona. Special thank you to our legacy sponsor, the City of Phoenix, and our founding sponsors, Arizona Commerce Authority, Phoenix Bioscience Corps, Arizona State University, and Wexford Science and Technology. If you'd like to help us continue these conversations and help keep them ad-free and available to all, you can make a contribution at mccc, that's 3Cs, df.org/donate. Select Other, enter Venture Cafe Phoenix, and if you'd like to support on an ongoing basis, check the box, make this a recurring gift. This podcast is powered by Extraordinary Podcast Network, the network for thought leaders. Learn more about Extraordinary at joinextraordinary.com. Recorded in the Extraordinary studio at Cul-de-sac, America's first purpose-built car-free neighborhood. Until next time, keep building, connecting, and innovating, and we'll see you at Venture Cafe Phoenix.